Can CPS do that to my children?
CBS 42 investigative reporter Nancy Wilson shows us one family who says the same thing happened to them, and 8 years later, they're still trying to clear their names.
We're challenging the constitutionality.
This is the Gaites family. Gary and Melissa have 13 children, 11 of them adopted. They saw a need for kids from a variety of backgrounds who need love and a stable home. Imagine their surprise when CPS showed up on their doorstep.
The ends justify the means.
Why? The school called CPS when they discovered the Gaites pinned a baggie with food wrappers inside the shirt of one of the kids who was caught stealing. It included a 2-page explanation and who to call if there were questions. The school did make a phone call to Child Protective Services.
How can you take 13 kids?
Gaites was shocked to find CPS workers in his home uninvited.
That opened my eyes to a whole new way of government.
Especially when CPS refused to leave.
In my being naive, I really kind of fell back on this Fourth Amendment thing. You know, you're kind of raised that you had protection in the home.
Gaites said it didn't matter.
At the end of that day, 6 deputies and 5 CPS officials came into our house and removed all 13 children in emergency taking.
One by one, all 13 of the Gaites children were removed from their homes, loaded into a paddy wagon, and taken to foster homes.
That's wrong.
It was done without a court order under what's called an emergency removal. The law allows it only when there's a danger to the physical health and safety of a child and the need for protection is so urgent, removal is necessary. What was the danger?
The reason they later on said in court is, well, we felt Mr. Gaites was uncooperative, and his uncooperativeness with us put the children at risk.
First thing Monday morning, the Gaites were in court. The judge ordered CPS to return the children immediately, but to be safe, the judge ordered an independent evaluation. Psychologist Jay Bevan conducted the home study. He wrote a glowing report, concluding with, "I've never said this about anyone I've ever evaluated. I admire the Gaites. I would not hesitate to place my own children in their care." According to court records, CPS's response was both the department and CASA have found Dr. Bevan's report disappointing.
You would think they'd be saying, you know what, this is great. We don't need to be involved here. Let us go on to somewhere else where there is some real issues. But instead, they say, well, we're disappointed. And they have just continued to dig in their heels.
Even though the court dismissed the case against the Gaites, CPS continues to classify them as child abusers in the state's central registry.
They said, well, we felt that you emotionally abused this one child, and since all the kids saw that, that's 13 counts of abuse on those children. And because your wife didn't stop it, that's 13 counts of emotional abuse from her.
The Gaites were never charged with any crime. They are guilty based solely on the opinion of CPS. They say such a system is unconstitutional.
You know, anybody who has an interest in protecting the child.
CPS spokesman Chris Van Dusen says the findings are based on the department's investigation, and no court has ever ruled it unconstitutional.
I haven't heard a lot of complaints. I know certainly we go through administrative reviews and people have those determinations, have those findings reviewed. But I haven't heard a great deal of complaint about them.
Well, the Gaites are certainly complaining. They've spent the last 8 years and $175,000 trying to get their names removed from the registry. And like them, a number of parents have appealed. They've increased 265% in the past 2 years. Now, it can be a lengthy and sometimes expensive process, but the Gaites say it's worth it to clear their names. Ron and Judy?
Well, the Gaites are also challenging other practices by CPS. They say CPS can come into your home, search it, and take your children without a warrant or a court order.
They say not even the police, sheriff, or FBI can do that. The Gaites have founded a nonprofit organization called the Texas Center for Family Rights to help other families dealing with CPS.